President Brady told us that within 25 years, mark his word, and he ain't one to lie, this area is going to double. So it was last week, I went to a meeting, a bunch of nonprofit sort of folks, and I thought, well, I'll just fit in real good with that since I've never turned a profit anywhere. And then I found out not I wasn't really well known in that circle, and President Brady said, "Yeah, me neither." So on the way home, he challenged. Sharon and I were driving to Vegas, and so we talked for a little bit longer than Joe would normally talk, and he said, "Brother, how do you want to be remembered?" He goes, "You know, when they put that statue of you over there at the college in your big cowboy hat, how do you really, really want to be remembered?" And I'm like, he's stroking my ego and stuff. And then he goes, "Seriously, brother, you still got a little time before you're dead, I think." He goes, how do you want to go out? How do you want to be remembered? I go, I got to think about that. Well, I did. And this is what I'm come up with. I was real proud about that when we said, I think we should go for 10,000 full-time students and become a medium-sized college. I was real proud about that, and I'm so proud that Dan Walden, he says, "Dude, we're way past that. We passed that like a long time ago. We're way north of 13,000." And I'm like, yeah? Is that really where we want to go with the enrollment, is just keep getting a little bigger? And I thought about that, and I thought about how do I want to be remembered for anything? And I thought, well, the way I want to be remembered is the way I think we all should be remembered. That we created a climate of love and acceptance at this college that never existed at this college or any other college in the history of this country. I look across this room and just look at it. Man, I know that thing's buzzing, but just listen to me. Look at the variety of faces out here. So in employment, we're going to be the vanguard. And we're going to say, everybody's welcome. If you're good at what you do, you're welcome at this college. If you're a student that's not so good at what you do, you're still welcome at this college because we got something for you. There's a young man that when I was a high school counselor at Silverado, man, he was okay student, but he quit on me a couple of months shy of graduation. And I'm like, oh, dude, oh man, I wanted to slap him. But guess what? He found another path forward. He graduated. He's in the military. He's got a really solid rank, a beautiful family. And I'm like, you know what? This college is that thing for everybody in our community. There's a path forward for everybody. Even a student that went to this college that maybe didn't finish, or like maybe was here a couple of days and then he decided VVC college wasn't his thing. And, then he ends up like freaking mayor. Okay? You know what I'm saying, Gabe? You feel me? Look, this college needs to support everybody in the community. And if we do that, that's going to take care of enrollment. We're not going to even have to give a number where we're headed. We're just going to be there. And you can pick out whatever number you want, and we'll get to that target. Love and accept everybody in the community. And we're going to have whatever we want this institution to represent. Thank you for hearing me out. Much love.
Former trustee, John, nobody can say you don't have passion.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Manuel Angulo on quality of CDL program.
Good evening. I'm Manuel Angulo. I recently enrolled into the CDL program here at this college. I had a career change. I worked corrections, worked with at-risk youth, and recently the climate has been changing in public schools where unfortunately we lower the standards. There is no discipline for the kids, so I was at a tough campus and I was injured. So that's when I decided to make a career change. So I thought the CDO program was something, much different. Come to find out, there was a lot of issues. There is a lot of issues with that program. The courses weren't followed through. Instead of hitting the core subject, we were watching YouTube videos, and while back on the field there, the instructors weren't really making sure that the students were doing what they're supposed to be doing. I had brought it up several times to the director, Richard Ratcliffe, and he made it sound like he was gonna look into things. Unfortunately, he didn't. So I end up passing the course. I was scheduled for a DMV test. The truck, which was constantly breaking down throughout the course, failed at the DMV. But I guess the most disturbing part was on our way to the DMV, the instructor, we almost had an accident. He pulled the steering wheel from me because he didn't want to wait in traffic. So I guess the nerves of that and the truck failing, I don't know. I had a discussion with the family and, hey, we'll talk to the director again. I told him. He allowed me to enroll in a different course. Pretty much it was a miserable failure as well. He wanted to know, what was going on in that program, and I told him, and it wasn't good. I never heard from him again. I emailed the college staff on December 3rd. The president and the vice president, never heard back. Several emails to Richard Ratcliffe back in November. He never responded, so here I am.
Mr. Angulo,
Yes, sir.
the board's willing to give you an additional minute to finish your comments if you'd like. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
So I guess the core issue is ignoring emails. Ignoring emails doesn't make the issue go away. If because I read several, the accreditation. I got into that. I got too involved, and from several people, like, why are you wasting your time? Just continue doing what you're doing, and let the program, sink or fail. But what came to mind is when Richard Ratcliffe told me that the program has a 20% pass rate. I was told by others that it's lower than that. But what stuck to me, was stuck to me was when Richard said that whether students pass or fail, we still get $5,000 per student. So it's about money. That just continues to bother me. So is that the type of folks we're gonna have driving 18-wheelers just because, hey, I passed? I think we really need to reassess the program and ask the people who I emailed, why did it they haven't responded. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you for your comments. Emily Ruiz, Theater Department update.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Ruiz. I'm the current chair of the Theater Arts Department, and I just wanted to speak to you a little bit on behalf of the whole department on what we've been doing and what we're looking forward to doing. Through the efforts of 7 instructors, the PAC staff, and the support of ASB and Robert Sewell, we've started off our season really strong. Our show, She Kills Monsters, has had several sold-out shows, and we hosted 5 different high schools to come and see the show during the day, gave them a tour of facilities and everything. We had a sold-out run of the Vagina Monologues, and for students from those shows, we'll be taking them to a regional festival in February where they can compete, and go to workshops, apply for scholarships. We're really looking forward to starting that new tradition. We're looking forward to our children's show, Flora and Ulysses. We'll invite elementary school students to see that one. Much Ado About Nothing and West Side Story in the summer through efforts with music and dance. In the fall, we also hosted drama teachers from the local area for a professional development workshop, and we're bringing their students in February for a high school theater festival for the full day in January 26th. So I wanted to also take the opportunity to invite you if you'd like to come and join us and the high school students. We'll be hosting over 200 students from 5 different area high schools. So, thank you.
Wow. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 5.1, before you come up, Mayor, I want to just introduce you based on what I know about you. So as I said in the December meeting, as president of the board, I wanted to kind of change some of our meetings, and at each meeting, we will have a public official that has something to do with our county and something to do with our college here for a maximum of a 10-minute presentation. Last month, we had the chairperson for the County Board of Supervisors, 3rd District Supervisor Don Rowe. This month, we have our distinguished mayor from the city of Adelanto, Gabriel Reyes, and his nice wife. Unfortunately, you can't speak, but obviously, you'll get to listen to him again. Next month, I think we have 1st District Supervisor and Vice Chairman Paul Cook that will be joining us, and we're scheduling people throughout. But let me say something about Gabriel Reyes. Gabriel was, I think you were born and raised in Atlanta, right? Okay. Left to go to Hawaii to start another career, and based on his love for his city and his family, he came back many years ago and decided to stick his toe into politics in his first race in, 2016? 18. And when he got in, I think the city had, a $6 million structural deficit, something like that? Well, under his leadership, he won re-election this last year. The city, I think, doesn't have a structural deficit. You actually might have a little surplus. We're doing a little bit of work. I do tours out there all the time. I'd like to welcome you, Gabriel, to come on up here and tell us about your city, what you're doing, how it relates to Victor Valley College, and the great things that you've got going.
Thank you so much, President Brady. I have pulled out some notes because it is an honor to be before you today. President, Superintendent, Doctor, members of the boards of trustees and staff and students and members of the audience. Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here before you and to be able to talk about some of the things that we have going on in Adelanto. As I get started, I think it's important for us to be able to understand where Adelanto was, where Adelanto is, and where Adelanto is going in the short 10 minutes. I don't think it's 10 minutes. We gave Mr. Pinkerton about an extra 3, so I won't double mine. I'll just, try to keep it around the 10. But Adelanto most definitely was a city that was neglected and abused for many, many years in regards to moving forward and progression of what the city is, right? My wife and I were talking today on the way here, and we're talking about the definition of adelanto, right? The Spanish word is adelante, and that's just the spirit of progression. And I believe that's really where we are as a council and as a city today, is not focusing on the past, but focusing on the future. Obviously, we have to address the issues that we inherited, because there's no way that those things can be ignored, but they have to be addressed. And those require sometimes some hard conversations. As many of us know, in 2016, the city of Adelanto embraced the cannabis industry, whether good or bad. It passed by almost 70% by the community, because they needed a tax base. The problem with the city and why we had a structural deficit was because there's no point of sales tax that was being generated in Adelanto. Back in 1985, the mayor and Caltrans created an MOU and an ordinance to kill economic development off of Highway 395 because they wanted to promote Highway 222. Well, in I believe 1999 or early 2000, that those plans were put on hold by Caltrans, but the MOU was never removed by Caltrans for the city of Adelanto. Granted, it was removed for the city of Victorville and for the city of Hesperia. That's why if you notice all the way up to Palmdale Road, there is plenty of signal lights, there's plenty of gas stations, there's plenty of economic development to take advantage of that traffic. You see, Highway 395 is known as Three Flags Highway because the 15 freeway connects all the way down to the Mexican border, and 395 goes all the way up to the Canadian border. So we have about 40,000 cars that go through Adelanto every single day, and unfortunately, the city cannot benefit off of any of that POS traffic. So that's the main reason why we were struggling to be able to generate that tax base. So the city embraced the cannabis industry, and when I became mayor in 2018, they were averaging about $500,000 of taxes at a 5% tax base. Well, when I came in, unfortunately, there was names in code enforcement, there was business names with the water department and the finance department. There was no order, there was no structure. So the city manager proposed some ideas, and what we did was we dropped the tax base down to 1% to get a clear understanding of what actual businesses were in our community. Because how are we going to collect taxes and revenues if we don't know who's operating? So we brought in a compliance department, an audit department, and we went through the community with code enforcement and staff, and they gathered all the businesses that were operating, and we kept it at that 1% until staff was confident on who was in our community. Right after that, we increased it up to 3%, and we've been at 3% now for the last 5 years. I like to say that under my first administration, we collected over $20 million of cannabis excise tax by the operation that we have going on. Something that I would say has most definitely been a proponent of why we've been able to close that structural deficit of $6.5 million. Now that we're there, we don't want to be known as a one pillar type of community. In business, they say that there's 7 streams of income is what the average millionaire has. Well, any sustainable city needs to be able to have multiple streams of income going into that general fund. So now we've diversed and we moved over to other industries. And in doing so, we realized that there was a lot of things that we needed to address, specifically our failing infrastructure. A lot of our roads, if you guys go through Adelanto, you probably couldn't tell which ones are roads and which ones are dirt roads. Your suspension takes a little bit of a beating. So we needed to do a facelift for our community. So just in our engineering report and our CIP, we've been able to do projects and complete projects like the repaving of White Avenue, Jonathan Street, and Chamberlain Way. This was about a 1.25 mile strip of residential streets in our northeast side of our community. And the beautiful thing was that there is no impact to our general fund. A lot of the projects that we've had to do, because we've had an issue with revenue, we had that stronghold of where are we going to get the money, right? It's easy to build, it's easy to grow when you have a pot of money, but it's even harder when you don't have anything to count on. So a lot of these projects, we're grateful to say we've been able to get support through grants or SB1 money, Measure R money, things of the sort, that they would have no impact to our general fund. The next project that we completed was the Auburn Avenue, Jonathan Street improvements, which is another about 1.5 miles of project, a little bit over $1 million that had no impact to our general fund. Our biggest improvement that I would like to say that happened was, and it's currently still going under construction, is the Bartlett Avenue Rehabilitation Project. Bartlett Avenue is also on the north side of town, and It is, I would say, our downtown, and probably the top three worst roads in the city of Adelanto that we've been able to complete half of it now, and we're working on the second half. This was a $4.3 million project that will be completed in mid-February. So being able to address our capital improvements, and while with the roads are opened, right, we were able to address a lot of our sewer issues and our hogwash issues that we had in our city. Because one of the struggles that we would present to staff is, to our city manager, to share with staff is, we don't want to pave all these roads if in 2-3 years we have to replace the pipes or replace the sewer, right? So we wanted to make sure that while it was open, we were able to address these concerns. With all of the growth, we've had to do some water modeling. We've had to do some, we're currently finishing our water master plan for our community because we've had so much growth in business and residential. Also, our main water design, as well as our well-designed services. So a lot of growth in the community, a lot of impact that's going on with positive activity, but also we've had to address our sewer, right? So a lot of these areas have needed major capital improvements because some of the projects that we have in our pipeline is about 18 million square feet of industrial and warehousing, logistics and manufacturing that are going on in our community. So yes, that's two separate projects. One is an $8 million square foot project, and the other is a 10 million square foot project in two different parts of our community. So on an average, for every million square feet of industrial warehouse type of development, it's roughly about 1,000 jobs, right? So we're looking at potentially 18 million more jobs that are going to be coming here in the city of Adelanto. So we're excited about that, but the main things that we're focusing on is manufacturing, administrative, and also transportation, as well as the warehousing, right? So that's exciting, and we're expecting that within the next 5 to 10 years. So the numbers, President Brady, that former Board of Trustee member Mr. Pinkerton mentioned about doubling in size over the next 25 years is most definitely something that I can concur and that I agree with. And a lot of it is going to be workforce, right? What stimulates the economy? It's the jobs. Jobs is what stimulates your local economy. And that's one of the biggest things. Adelanto is not trying to be Victorville. We're not trying to be Apple Valley. We're not trying to be Hesperia. We're trying to be Adelanto, right? The city with unlimited possibilities. And the biggest thing that we want to give back is times to the family. We're a commuter region. I hate driving up the Cajon Pass. I look at what time these people want to have meetings. Oh, you want to do it 1 o'clock? Yeah, no, not going to happen. We can meet at 10 because we already know that if we're not working our way up by 1 o'clock, you're hitting that traffic, right? So if I feel that, what does our workforce feel? And how can we bring them and keep them up here in the high desert if we don't have the jobs? Right, so that's where Adelanto's being a good neighbor, being a good steward to growing the region, is being able to bring quality, livable wage jobs to our region so that parents don't have to work 2 or 3 jobs. Where a mom can be a mom if she wants to be a stay-at-home mom. A dad can be a stay-at-home dad, where they don't have to work a third part-time job because they have to pay for babysitting or because they have to pay for this, that, and the third because of their work schedule to be able to be there with their family. So our goal is to just give back more time to the average family, right? Because if you think of the commute, 3 hours is an average commute a day. 3 times 5, that's 15 hours. We would love to be able to give back 60 hours of time back to parents so they can spend that either on education or be able to spend that with their loved ones. What else do I have on here? I'd want to touch on something that we're going to be presenting here soon as a city, and I want to make sure that the community hears our side of what we're doing. You see, with this deficit that we've inherited, we're almost out of the hole, right? We're finally seeing the grass, right? We were 6 feet under, getting ready to get incorporated by the county, but now we have some breathing space. And one of the things that we're doing is we want to be a proponent of growth, a proponent of jobs, and a proponent of housing. The city has been hit with 5,000 RENA numbers from the state of California. They're asking us to build 5,000 more homes, whether it be workforce, affordable housing, market rate homes. We've been asked to build 5,000 more homes. But one of the biggest problems that we have is that 90+% of the vacant land in the city of Adelanto is owned privately. And a lot of things are not being simulated. People are not listing the land to be put up for sale. We have major corridors and prime real estate that is just not being listed, that is not being pushed to develop. And at the end of the day, that hinders a city that needs that type of tax base, that property tax base, the point of sales tax, right? The ability to live, work, and play in your community. So we're doing something called the vacant land measure, and this is just for educational purpose. Says what this measure is going to do is going to be able to bring some stability to our community on what it is that we need. We have 4 major issues in Adelanto, and that's blight and illegal dumping. That's we don't have a Parks and Recs department for our kids. We need more capital improvements. And we need to be able to support our law enforcement with additional deputies and or firefighters. So this program, there's this vacant land tax measure that we're proposing to get the support of the community, is to address those 4 issues, to address and bring sustainability to our way of life in Adelanto. We're not trying to delay anything. If anything, we're trying to propel and support economic development throughout our community. We would love to be able to have a Parks and Recs department where our kids can play sports locally and not go to Apple Valley, not go to Victorville, not go to our neighboring cities to be able to provide those type of things because we cannot provide those, right? Again, this is years of a mess that we have to address and that we've been able to do so in a very, very short time through a global pandemic to add, right? I know you guys had your stresses, especially in education during that time, so did the city. Right? So those problems never went away. If anything, it sped them up. One of the things that we're looking to do with these opportunities is be able to bring in the necessary infrastructure, power. That's one of our biggest demands and one of our biggest needs. So if there's anything that we could ask of the college as well, is we would love to embrace hydrogen and renewable energy. We would love to embrace those type of careers and opportunities in the city to be able to bring in more electricians, to be able to bring in those type of trades. If there's anything that we can do, we would love to be a part of that and would love to assist in that growth because we roughly need about 80 megawatts worth of power right now for all the projects that we have on our books in our planning department here at the city and on the staff level. So with that being said, I can go on and on. There's a lot of great things going on in Adelanto, but I will go ahead and cut this short. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the ability to come here and just share what's been going on in Adelanto and where it is that we're going, because we truly do believe that Adelanto is the city with unlimited possibilities, and we finally have a team and a staff and a council that is working together to make that a reality. So thank you so much for your time.
Do any of our trustees have any questions of Mayor Reyes?
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Very enlightening.
Very.
Thank you so much. You guys have a blessed rest of
I
your night.
think you enlightened everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't sell a secret, so Gabe, thanks for coming and leading the pack. We appreciate your leadership.
President Brady, thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to speak on all the great stuff that's going on.
You got it.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Section 6 is Board of Trustee goals.
We're gonna pass by that this month.
Okay. Board communication, at this time, the Board of Trustees will report on matters directly related to their functions as board members, attendance at conferences, professional affiliations, community involvement. Trustee Henderson, would you like to lead it?
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to say, I hope everybody had a great New Year. I know I did. I slept through it. I knew it was coming, but I didn't wait up to see it. But I understand Victorville and maybe Hesperia had a fireworks display at midnight. So, anybody see that? No? Anyway, that's about all I have to say. I was going to the DC conference, but something came up and I can't make it. I'd love to go. I've never been to DC. I want to see it before it's gone, you know. Anyway, before I'm gone.
Is DC going somewhere?
It's going somewhere, I don't know.
He's taking the jet. He's taking the Carver
Oh my gosh,
jet.
the dead joke.
Trustee Tarpley?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It was a long, long break for my son. 3 weeks and 1 day. But who's counting? So he's back at school today, finally, in the new year, and he's 13. And so I've been managing that for the month since the last time that I saw you all. So pray for me. Thank you. Yep.
Trustee Wood?
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. Happy New Year. Here we are, 2024. As far as any kind of training, I actually attended I don't know, what do the kids call it? A webinar, an online training. Kind of an interesting subject, a class called A More Perfect Union, How to Discuss Race, Religion, and Politics in a Fragmented Nation. Interesting in the sense that, you know, on Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, when you're going to your family's house, the rule is normally no politics, right? No religion, right? Can't talk about it. So an interesting class. It's put on by a lady called Michelle Silver Thorne. She owns a company called Inclusion Nation. It just kind of piqued my interest just because you always have everybody at the holidays especially saying the rules of what we're not talking about. So this was a class on how to talk about it, how to start a real good fight on Thanksgiving. So as far as training, that's it. Looking forward to
No.
some upcoming training and interaction, professional development that is taking place in February. And that's it.
Student trustee, please accept my apology for overlooking you.
It's all good. Thank you.
Again.
That's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to be admonished.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start. I hope everyone had a great break and happy holidays. Hopefully, if the board tonight passes the item, I get to go to DC with them in February for the trustee conference along with 3 other students. So if so, I look forward to that. And thank you so much.
Trustee Pinkerton?
Merry Christmas. Well, it's already after Christmas, but Happy New Year. John and I already said we went to the High Desert Hispanic Chamber of Commerce today. And Joe was our president here, was the keynote speaker. And he talked about the expansion of industry up here, all of these different industries that are going to be coming up here. And also he's talking about, what did you say, about 1 million people by when?
We'll add 500. We have 550,000 people right now. We're going to add another 550 within 20 years.
So looking at that, that'll be incredibly beneficial to VVC, where it'll be, obviously, it's going to be more growth and probably adding more programs to our college. And last month, we went to the nurses' pinning, and that is always a special and unforgettable event. Each pinning is like a personal triumph for each one of them. And then we also went to the paramedic graduation, which is always an extraordinary event, which marks a sense of accomplishment for each one. And also, one of the teachers there, Brian Hendrickson, I don't know if some of you know him, has retired. They honored him there at the graduation. And he did 40 years of service to VVC and San Bernardino County. And let's see. And last but not least, we went to the Lights of Love, which was fantastic. They gave out 800 presents, 800, around that, to 800 children. And through the generosity of ASB and Robert Sewell. And that is it.
And Robert did a great job. ASB did a great job with that, and we want to all thank you, Robert.
Sorry, Sharon reminded me, I also went to the pinning considering my daughter was one of the ones getting in, but
I mean,
that was like a month ago.
yeah, same. I was
I
there
already
too.
forgot about it.
What was more embarrassing is my neighbor is texting me and asking me why I'm not there, and I said I'm in a doctor's office. He said, "Why aren't you here?" Because his wife was pinned, so that was unfortunate. I spoke today at the Hispanic Chamber. Our Elizabeth Doherty in the back was there, and then it was fun. It's fun to, at this point in my career, I'm 67 years old, and we've watched this economy now for 35 years, and it's fun to kind of, I think, share the information we have. I think I think the reason we're all sitting up here as trustees is we want to see our youth and people that come to the college get smarter. So that's one of the things we're going to do, and we have quite a few speeches planned this year, but. One thing that will be coming on our agenda, I believe, in March or April is the annual Spring Valley Lake vote. We have 19 votes for the college and candidates that are running for their board. So in Spring Valley Lake, there's 7 members of the board of directors, 4 are up one year, 3 are up the next year, and they're constantly rotating. And for the last 13 years I've been here, those who are seeking our endorsement come and tell us all kinds of great things, and they all have one thing in common. They always say, we want to have a great working relationship with Victor Valley College. Well, I've lived in Spring Valley Lake for 35 years. I'm proud to own two properties on in there. And I recently had lunch with Alfred Logan, Alfred's been the general manager for the association for probably 15 years. He's probably been employed there for about 20 years. And during our lunch, we talked about all kinds of things, but one of the things that we talked about was a prominent resident of Spring Valley Lake approached me 2 months ago and said, how can we in Spring Valley Lake really have a better relationship with VBC? And how do we get away from every year having candidates come here, tell us the same story, and nothing ever happens? And I thought, when he called me, and this person's he's been involved before, I said, you're absolutely right. So Alfred and I sat down, and I talked to him today, and he sent me a quick email. And he's talking about the public safety department works very well with the Victor Valley College Police Department. And we support over 60% of the staff attending class at VVC. I'm working closely with a member of the VVC team regarding training. We are not ready to go into the details, but this individual has gone out of their way to support SVLA and training ideas that we have. A good question I have for VVC leadership is from the perspective, how do they envision Spring Valley Lake Association and VVC working together in the future? So I called Alfred today on the way to Barstow, where I gave another speech, and said, how would you like me to bring to the board tonight and ask the board to agendize, 5-minute or 7-minute presentation by him to our board to talk about how Spring Valley Lake relates to Victor Valley College, what programs that we can work on together. There's 4,215 lots in there. They're 96% built out. There's 12,000 people that have an impact, and they are the residents that are right next door, and they have 19 votes. So I'd like the board to approve putting that on the agenda for the February meeting. I need a motion in a second.
Motion.
I don't think you do.
Do we need that?
Motion.
Okay.
You don't,
So,
but
Doctor,
I agree.
Yeah, because every year we hear the same thing. So Dr. Walden, if you could do that, and we'll coordinate it with Alfred Logan. Next thing is our superintendent president's report. Dr. Walden.
Okay, let's start off with ASB goals.
No updates for tonight? Thank you.
All right.
On.
Well, we just got out of a board meeting and had vacation, then we came back, so board meeting to board meeting. We will have you a good facilities report next month, so we don't have anything tonight, but I do think Chris Nunez from the foundation, there he is, has a quick report.
So you're walking more normal now, huh?
I am. Same crutches, right?
Yeah, no, you look better without crutches.
I appreciate
Dancing
that. Thank you very
again.
much. Fun fact, Alfred Logan, he's an alumni.
He's a what?
He's an alumni, BBC alumni.
Oh, I thought you said old guy.
No!
You know what? I thought he
Very
said that
honored
too.
and treasured alumni.
So when I call Alfred tonight, I'll say, Chris said you're some old dude.
No, an honored and alumni.
We heard what we heard.
Sorry, Chris.
Check the record, check the
I don't know
record.
what happened.
It's like fake media, you know, we just make it up as we go.
No, I literally heard that.
Well, happy to be here tonight and share a few very important pieces of information that I think you're going to be excited to hear. Number one is today is the launch of the Victor Valley College Foundation Scholarship Drive. So students across the campus and across our community are already hard at work submitting their applications. Robert and I were talking earlier today, and since 1:15, I had another 67 applications come in just since then. So applications are starting to come in. Students will be able to attend workshops to actually get help from start to finish on completing these applications. We're working with our partners, of course, to get the word out, host these events in our ATC and all of our training centers with Liz Duarte and all of our engagement centers. That way, everybody has as much access to this application as possible. We know, of course, our students aren't rich and come to us in order to improve their situation. So on behalf of all of those students, this message goes out to all of our donors who support our scholarships. Many of you are here in the room, our supporters. Thank you so very much. On behalf of the thousands of students who are receiving these scholarships and the thousands more that will, it's greatly appreciated. So if you're already contributing to your favorite scholarship fund, thank you so much. If you're not sure what your favorite scholarship fund is, you let me know and I will help you find it, and we'd be happy to help you support. So the application is live now, due March 15th. We've got flyers here, more information going out, but I want to leave you guys with these so you can make sure you hand them out to all the students you know and see.
Can you send those digitally?
I sure can, absolutely. And of course, across all of our social media platforms, you'll see that it's gone out as well.
So if anybody wants to set up a scholarship to be able to get in this cycle, do you have a cutoff date that they would have to have their paperwork and the money and the
Joe, I'm so glad you asked that question. No, you know what? Up until the day we award, if you've got funds that you want to support a student in their educational pursuits, we'll make that happen. So up until May 17th is when we can actually institute and award a brand new scholarship to where a student will be able to be awarded those scholarships this year and then have them for the 24-25 school year. So thank you. And then the second exciting piece of information that I will share with you is I want to introduce one of our new team members. Everybody meet Penny Davis. Penny Davis is our new public relations and marketing coordinator. We're incredibly happy to have her. She just started this week, so she'll be joining us at a board meeting here coming soon. But when you see her at all of our events and President's Circle and scholarship ceremonies, and of course responding to all of our students online when they're reaching out via Instagram or TikTok for assistance, Penny is going to be that forward-facing person. So when you see Penny around, give her a wave. But otherwise, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Piggyback on your
Yes.
presentation. So I'm not quite sure why, but for the nurses pinning, they had me slated as the speaker for the foundation.
Oh.
Maybe a
That
crossover
was
because of
Roll
Kathleen.
of the dice.
Okay.
Right, yeah, maybe we
All
just got
right.
random rolls. I don't know.
It was
Well, I hope
risky
you
is
represented
what I
well.
mean,
Thanks.
risky.
I did. So I got up there. Kathleen was there, and I was thinking, she's on the foundation. She should come up here, but there was no way she was doing it. But of interest, and on this topic tonight, is while I was talking about the foundation at the pinning, I turned to the nurses and I asked, how many of you received some kind of support or benefit, assistance, something from the foundation? Now, who was there? You were there, Dan was there. Who was there in the audience? Because I had kind of a sideways view, but I would think that
It was.
probably every
100%.
single
Yep.
nurse
It was.
raised their hand. Maybe not, but
Oh, it
from
was.
my, I'm looking across them this way, but it did look like every single one of them raised their hand that they'd received some assistance from the foundation.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. I didn't know the answer when I asked it. So you're praying, you go, how many of you were helped?
Yeah.
And I'm looking and I'm like, oh, God help me if none of them raised their hand. Right? But I was shocked that it appeared to be every single one of them, which did actually get a rise out of the audience. I of course, prompted the audience to contact the foundation, but it was very impressive to see that, at least from my vantage point, it appeared to be every single student on that stage said the foundation had helped them.
We do our best.
So if you're wondering how many you helped,
job.
the last nursing pinning ceremony appeared to be 100%.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. I'll leave these up here.
Thank you, Chris. So just briefly tonight in my comments, first of all, I'm glad to report we just started our winter term. And it appears that currently just our credit classes alone that are positive attendance classes, so it's more, there's more than this, but just our regular credit classes alone, we're up over 18% this winter over last winter. So that's a feat that the college continues to grow. You probably remember last year when we brought an update on the student housing, and out of the 30 or so colleges that applied for student housing last year, Victor Valley was ranked number 11 in the scoring. And I know the board was interested in how that might change with the new rubric and so on. And so the state funded the top 7 on the list and did not get down to number 11 where we were. But this year, just got this, we scored number 3.
Oh.
And this is a 4-story apartment type building at about $62 million. And the state total cost to this building is $46,503,000. Or maybe that's 508, it's really small writing. And then the local cost, which we would get through Servitas, and so it would not be actually any money out of our district. This would come from sale of bonds on Wall Street, that company that we're contracting with would be another $15,500,000 is all we would be financing that well. So this is we don't know during we know that the state budget is $68 billion deficit over 3 years. However, the housing is a very political hot potato. So I don't know whether the governor will include that in his budget or not. They have since, I believe last year, decided to do this funding through the sale of state bonds. So if they're going to use bonds, then it's maybe a good chance that we'll actually get funded this time. So there were 35 colleges that submitted applications. The lowest score was 36, the highest score was 76, and Victor Valley scored in at 71.
Wow.
So just keep your eyes on, I guess we'll know more this week as we hear from the governor's proposed budget and how he plans to deal with housing. And John and I will be in Sacramento next week, spending a full day absorbing and saturating ourselves with his new budget, along with the rest of community college leaders. So thank you very much. That's my report.
Section 9 reports. The purpose of these reports is to inform the Board of Trustees regarding issues pertaining to those constituency groups. They're limited to 3 minutes, but we're not going to limit you. Item 9.1 Academic Senate, there. 2 AFT part-time,
Not here.
not here. 9.3 ASB,
Yes, I
Good.
do have updates.
great.
So on January 11th from 5 to 7 p.m., Tony, who is an Emmy Award-winning poet, will be hosting a workshop for students in person upstairs in the SAC. And then on January 15th at 6 p.m., we have the tribute to the Martin Luther King with Dorian Hawley. And then for Black Women's Creative Expression, everyone here at the board should have little flyers for this. Teresa Pauly will be hosting an art exhibit in our PAC, which launches next week all the way through Black History Month. And then finally, Evening of Comedy and Magic is February 10th at 7:30 p.m. Hope to see you guys all there. Thank you. And here's the little flyer. I don't have a mini one, so I just have a giant one for you all to see.
Thank you.
No problem.
CSEA?
Good evening, Dr. Walden and Board of Trustees, and Happy New Year. As of January 1st, I became the new CSEA president. Also, in addition, we were able to add a few new people to our executive board, and we still have one vacancy that needs to be filled. I'm hoping to get that position filled next week, and by the end of the month, have a complete executive board, which I hope to bring to the February board meeting to introduce so everybody is aware who the CSEA leaders are on this campus. With our current contract expiring the end of June, the negotiations team conducted a contract survey to get feedback from the members on any articles that they may want us to look at when we begin the next negotiations. The negotiations team will be meeting this month with our labor representative and hope to have any proposed sunshine items submitted for the February board meeting. It is our hope that the new contract will be negotiated and finalized before the current contract expires on June 30th. Thank you very much.
Happy New Year. CTA? No? Management?
Yes.
Evening, esteemed board members, President Superintendent Dr. Walden, Student Trustee Weiss. On behalf of the Management Division of the BVC, I'd like to introduce you to Kristen Anderson. She is one of our faculty members for Emergency Telecommunications, and she's here to tell you a little bit about our program.
Good evening. After 20 years in emergency telecommunications, 12 in training and 6 in management, I can tell you that the biggest fail point for a dispatcher is in the first year of their career and their training. Our emergency communication centers are feeling this fail point in a major way. Our communication centers have approximately 80 open dispatch positions in our region, which includes over 30 centers in San Bernardino and Riverside counties. Our new hires are coming into our centers unprepared and overwhelmed. The Emergency Telecommunications Program we have started here at VVC seeks to address this early career attrition. It is the first of its kind in our area, and our goal is to provide prepared and well-rounded candidates that are successful in their training, have long, rewarding careers, and help to staff our critically understaffed dispatch centers. Our Emergency Telecommunications Certification Program is 5 classes, starting with a general course to acquaint our students with the 911 profession, and then 3 courses that dig into fire, medical, and law enforcement dispatch intricacies that include terminology, education around the field, call types, and questioning sequences. They then, for the final course, take everything they learned and experience an externship in a local center. During the semester, the students participate in the multi-company day at the Regional Public Safety Training Center and get to see police, fire, and medical operations and learn firsthand where they fit into the emergency services system. Our first cohort of 20 emergency telecommunicators completed the program in fall semester. Several are in the testing process, and I'm excited to come back and tell you their success stories. As we go into our next semester, we are implementing several things to improve the student experience and further prepare them for dispatch centers. We will continue to practice taking 911 calls, and we'll implement a program called Tacticall. This web-based program will allow the students to practice taking calls with the correct tone and pace to provide clear and effective communication. It is a programmable web-based program so that we can create relevant questions to our area and to each discipline. Our goals include creating a dispatch lab that gives the students hands-on practice, answering calls, entering information into a computer-aided dispatch center, and radio communications. This simulation piece makes our program well-rounded and further solidifies our student success and training and as 911 dispatchers. We have started the process to certify our program to provide basic dispatcher course through POST, the Peace Officer Standards and Training, which is a requirement of all law enforcement dispatchers in the state of California. Our current faculty has over 40 years of experience in dispatch, training, supervision, management, and we are hiring an additional faculty member with another 30 years of experience. We have major and critical incident experience, dispatcher wellness and peer support experience, advanced dispatch and industry certifications. We are respected in the region, and above all else, we are all passionate about our industry and excited for the future of this program. Our faculty sees only the stars is our limits. And I'm happy to take any questions.
I don't know if any trustees have had to call 911 the last year, but I did, and it was a horrifying experience. It was horrifying. I thought my wife was going to die. By the time they asked me 15 minutes of questions, you know, and there is a problem, and I'm glad to see that we're doing something about it.
Yeah, our local centers, just here in the high desert, have probably 30 of our open positions. So they're feeling the weight of this.
Well, it's a scary job.
Yeah.
Like, that just freaks me out.
And they're going in, without programs like this, they're going in thinking they're
Blind.
going into like a administrative or like a secretary position. They don't understand the weight of what they're walking into.
Wow. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
When are the first classes set to roll out? Did
So
you
we
say
start,
that?
yeah, we started in the fall semester, so we've already had one group of students go through the program. A ton of them are in the testing processes right now, and then we'll start again in the spring and February.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
feel like we're learning so much tonight. Love it.
Item number 10, consent agenda. All matters listed on our consent agenda are considered by the Board of Trustees to be routine and have been approved by the President and Superintendent under Board Policy 2430. There will be no separate discussion on these items prior to the time the board votes on them unless a board member requests a specific item be removed from the consent agenda for discussion and separate vote. Public comment on consent items from anyone completing a card will be heard prior to the board's vote on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Second. Henderson motion.
Hold on here. One more thing I forgot to put on. Public comment announcement related to consent agenda items. The complete written request to address the board shall be submitted before the beginning of the open session portion of the meeting. This is the opportunity for the public to address the board on any consent agenda items. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual and a total of 15 minutes per topic. Speakers will be timed electronically, and all speakers will be called on to the podium to speak at the appropriate time to address the board. Only those that have been recognized by the board president will be permitted to speak under Board Policy 2350. Michelle, do we have anybody? No. So do I have a motion?
Henderson.
I did it. Motion.
Motion,
And a second by Tarpley.
trustee Henderson, and a second by trustee Tarpley.
That guy.
Student trustee?
Yes.
Oh.
You voted?
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Hey, I needed to correct mine.
Oh,
Do you want me to fix it for you?
Yeah,
What's your vote?
yay.
we did that during the 2020 election anyway, so. I'm going to suggest that we take a 7-minute break and come back at 10 minutes after 7. Technology break, we call it.
Technology.
Cough in peace.
I just had to get that whole shot in about the voting. be out of here.
We're almost done.
I ordered you one.
Ooh, this one's mine, and then I'll take yours.
Yeah, I ordered you one. I love it.
Get me one of those cards.
Hey Dennis, somebody took one of your brownies.
What'd you
Order
get?
5 or more,
Soft.
they're
He
only
was
15
sharing.
bucks. If you
No
order
sharing.
one, there's 20.
I licked them all. I
Did you
put them
want
on
them?
the
Done.
It
plate.
was good.
Yeah, if you
Hello?
order,
Hello?
you order 5
Can I get everybody's attention?
devices, they sell a bunch of different stuff. They drop the price.
Board trustees, we're under action items. Separate approval of the items pulled from consent. That's 12.1. We have a second read of board policy 3500, 3505, 3530, 7230, 7240, 7260, 7360, and 7365. In the past, to speed up time, we've allowed a board member to make a motion to approve all of them at one time, and then we took just a one-time vote. But I need a motion for that, for those.
Motion.
Second.
Can you also include 12.8, approval to delete chapter 8?
Did I miss that one?
Well, because it doesn't say second read, but the reason is these are redundant. So they're already in other board
Oh,
policies.
okay, I'm sorry. So I missed approval to delete chapter 8. So I need to amend,
Take out
I moved.
7260 and vote on it separately.
okay, wait. So we've got a motion and a second by trustee Wood. Okay,
I'd like
We
to
have-
take out 7260 and vote on it separately.
okay, so we have trustee Henderson would like us to take out 7260 and vote on that separately. Is that correct?
Yes.
So then we need to have Robert, another motion, correct?
No, you can just.
Or we can go with the first motion.
Go with the first one, we exclude 12.8,
Okay.
all but 12.8.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve 12.2 through 12.10 minus 12.8.
7260.
And then we'll have 12.8 separately, which is 72.60. Quickly,
Quickly, yeah.
correct. So trustee, student trustee?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll do a verbal. So trustee Henderson?
On 7260?
No, we're doing
On
the
everything
other-
but
Oh, yes,
7260.
yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
trustee Tarpley?
Yay.
Okay,
Yeah.
trustee Wood?
Yay.
Trustee Pinkerton?
Yay.
Trustee Brady, yes.
When you say yay, I need more enthusiasm, guys.
Yay.
This guy, Dennis has got all the sugar.
Facts.
Yeah.
I combined his plates.
Yeah, she did.
I mean, he gets pretty good service here.
Yeah, good service.
Yeah,
I've got it nailed down.
I mean,
So 7260.
14.1, the auditors are here, and then once you get it on the floor, they'll do a presentation.
okay, short.
Yeah, sure.
Almost.
You're
Okay.
good. Don't rush.
So it was 7260 is the only one that weren't.
12.8,
Right.
correct.
12.8.
So now I'm,
I'm almost there.
okay.
Two more.
Okay.
While this is waiting, I don't think we've introduced Jay Cohen, have we, to the board?
Last
Yes.
time, yeah, you did
We did that
last
last month?
We
meeting.
totally did that.
Okay, well, that's a
That's
different,
so last
that's
year.
a whole year ago.
It was a whole year
That was a year ago, yeah.
I'm not going to say your younger board members remember that.
Thank you.
I'm ready.
You ready?
You're so
Okay, so we
good.
have a motion for board policy 7260, second read, classified supervisors and managers.
So we are using the same motion?
Correct. Do we have we need a motion. I need a motion for it in a second.
Motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Absolutely.
Discussion.
No discussion.
No discussion? Okay. Okay,
I would do open the online voting for that now then?
okay.
Yeah.
Student trustee?
Yes.
Trustee Henderson?
No.
Trustee Tarpley?
Yay. Oh, we're doing it online.
Oh,
Oh, you're doing it online?
okay, so we got student trustee. Item 13.1, ASB out-of-state student travel to community national conference.
Motion?
Second.
So we have a motion by trustee Wood, a second by trustee Tarpley. Any discussion?
Well, I just want to say that all the trustees, minus trustee Henderson, who explained he had something come up and couldn't go, all the trustees, myself, and Robert Sewell and Andrew right there, and four students will be going to Washington DC for the National Legislative Summit. We will be meeting with congressmen and senators or their staff and attending a conference as well to represent VBC and the larger scene for educational policies that will help us here in the high desert. So keep us in your thoughts and prayers, and that we get there safely and on time and get back, in spite of weather and all the flying off of the doors and stuff.
Why did you say it out loud?
So we're gonna get there safely, on time, and we're gonna ask for as much money as we can get. Morley, let me tell you, my business, you ask. The worst thing people can say is, Joe, no. My wife said no 6 times, so no's just the start of the conversation. Okay, on 14.1, fiscal year 2022, 2020.
Did you vote?
Oh, we didn't vote, I'm sorry. So the student trustee's thinking, oh, man, I'm not gonna get to go to, oh, sorry.
It was on the wrong thing. So it was a
13-1.
motion.
It was Pink and Tarpley.
For motion and second?
Yeah.
I think it was my motion, your second.
It was your motion and her
Oh, I'm
second.
so sorry.
Correct, he stands
Either
corrected.
way,
I stand corrected.
log that down.
Yeah, wow, okay,
It's the only one you're gonna get this year.
yeah.
Telling your husband it
Did
is
it come up or
possible.
what?
Yeah, yeah, we're ready. I just-
We're only
You'll
8
just
days
laugh.
into this board this year, so,
I need the student
okay.
advisory and then I'll open online voting.
What?
I think she's a no. I don't know.
No,
Are
the
we at
online
14.1?
We are on 13.1.
We're trying to finalize that vote.
Yes.
Do we vote?
No, not yet.
We need the student advisory.
she said yeah.
She said no.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she said absolutely.
No.
Online voting's open.
She said
She
maybe.
doesn't like it when you guys talk to her, just so you know.
No, you said no, right?
I have to say one thing while the votes are being counted. I thought it was very brave for the chairman of Boeing to come out today and say, we own this problem. He came out and said, we own it. It's our problem and we own it. And I think that's the right thing to do, so I thought it was pretty cool.
that at your meeting?
And an Apple phone fell 16,000 feet and somebody found it and it didn't break. So they found it in somebody's backyard. So that's a big plug to Apple,
Did
you
they
know?
put it in a bag of rice?
No, but they didn't say whose phone it is, so, okay.
It's not
14.
gonna work for long then.
14.1, fiscal year 2022, 2023 district final audit and bond JJ final performance audit. Our auditors are here. They said they can give this report in what, 15 seconds or left?
We need a
Because
motion
we're
to get it
late?
on the floor.
Only kidding.
Motion to get it on the
Only
floor. Motion to get it on the floor. Thank
Motion,
you.
motion Tarpley, second trustee Wood.
Okay, so I'm happy to report that we got it filed on January 2nd for the deadline. And all you people that were on vacation during the holidays, some of us were reviewing audit reports during the holidays.
Some of you I heard like
I'm trying
that.
to watch football games. A 91-page audit report and a football game is really not a great experience.
It's the amount of beers you have, John.
Exactly.
Turn the football off.
So, yeah. So anyway, Ben Levitt is here. He's a partner with CWDL, our current contracted audit firm. And he'll just kind of give some highlights of this year's experience.
Appreciate it. Thank you, John. Good evening, members of the board. Superintendent Walden, President Brady. Very pleased to be here to speak to the results of the fiscal 23 audits, both for the district and for Measure JJ. I'll start with the district, but first I just want to extend our gratitude to staff. Working with John, Marie, Amy, our primary contacts in fiscal, and also going beyond that. We bug pretty much all the departments throughout the districts. The audit covers both financial as well as federal and state compliance. We experience tremendous support from the team that you have here at Victor Valley, enabling us to do our job in a timely fashion, get the reports to John's review in time for his holiday, and ultimately file with the state on the deadline. So in full satisfaction of the compliance requirements. So very pleased to be able to do that in large part due to staff's tremendous support and involvement. We have a myriad of requests and we got everything that we needed to do our job. So speaking to those results, the district report covers 4 components. I'm going to speak to it at a very high level, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to jump into that in more detailed fashion. The report kicks off with our independent auditor's report, which is our chief work product. That concerns our opinion on the fairness of the presentation of the overall financials. And that opinion that we're rendering for fiscal 23 is unmodified. That is the highest quality opinion that an audit firm can render, is to say, based on the results of our work for this year, the district's financial statements can absolutely be relied upon by this governing board and all of the district stakeholders. So moving past that, couple very quick highlights in the management discussion analysis section I just want to draw to your attention. FTES increase just shy of 30%. Massive improvement in net position year over year from fiscal 22 to fiscal 23, neither of which are things that can be taken for granted. Look around at your peers. We work with approximately 40% of the system, and that's exceptional. From our perspective, it speaks very highly to what's happening locally here at the district to really encourage students to come back following the pandemic. Shows very well on district leadership. So moving past the MD&A, the core financials, and the supplementary sections, there's 3 additional auditors' reports in the district financial statements. Our Yellow Book report, the first of those 3 additional reports, concerns our testing on controls and controls over compliance. This is a very common section to have exceptions. Essentially, it's biased toward fiscal controls. If there was a breakdown in fiscal internal controls, that would be noted in that report. We would bring that to your attention in this type of forum. Very pleased to report to the board we note no such exceptions in the Yellow Book report for fiscal 23. So an entirely clean audit over financial controls. Moving on to federal compliance, less common area to have exceptions, a very bad area to have exceptions if there are some. Those are areas where those exceptions take years to clear based on districts that we work with. They can entail millions of dollars in funding. Very pleased to note from our testing of SFA cluster as well as other major programs, we note no exceptions to federal compliance for fiscal 23. And finally, state compliance, probably the broadest of all the areas of the report outside of our financial testing, which we're always going to be biased towards. State compliance is where we test to the procedures outlined by the Chancellor's Office. They enumerate a number of procedures. These cover a variety of different departments throughout the district. If any exception occurred in any of those suggested audit procedures across all of those requirements from the Chancellor's Office, we would note that in that section of the report, we note no exceptions for fiscal 23. So an entirely clean audit report over both financial, federal, and state compliance. Before I get to Measure JJ, I just want to pause there and check in with the board to see if there's any questions over the district audit and any of those results or any aspects of the report.
Sounds good.
I'll take it all day long.
Joe has no questions?
Joe had no questions.
I am gonna fall on the floor. Are y'all gonna fall on the floor?
Can you do all the presentations?
Yes, you're welcome from now on.
No, it's clean, but it's clean. I mean, we've gone through the
Student community and
challenges
beyond.
that we've had in the past, and I think Trustee Tarpley, the challenge in the past was, you know, there was some concern when you have a $4 million structural deficit, and then we're living off the GIC.
Yeah.
And I mean, so all those days now are behind us, and yeah, I think it all comes down to what you say, leadership. And when you have that solid leadership in here, it makes it, there was a point, some people don't know, when Dr. Wagner came in here, he would spend literally like 2 days a week over there because he didn't believe he had a real concern about what was coming out of fiscal. So he would go over there and work like 2 days a week as our president superintendent, because he wanted to be sure that what the board was hearing was right, so. Yeah,
Well, those days are
congrats.
behind us.
They're way behind us.
I think our firm is presenting somewhere around 5 to 7 board presentations tonight. And selfishly, it's always fun to be able to present to a clean audit. It's not something that we get to do all that often. So just wanted to let the board know that none of those results are things that can be taken for granted. They require a tremendous amount of work on the part of staff to maintain that level of compliance and control. And yeah, just to provide our perspective that that's an outstanding result to see.
Wonderful.
Definitely.
JJ?
Jumping right into JJ.
Yeah.
So JJ's got two main components. There's the financial audit and there's the performance audit. Both are much smaller than the district report. Financial audit's only got 2 reports in it, the independent auditor's report and a yellow book report. So just like with the district report, independent auditor's report is where we opine on the fairness of the presentation of the broken out measured JJ financials. We have no issues based on the results of our testing. We render an unmodified opinion over the measured JJ financials. And the yellow book report, which is the single most common area to have an exception over a Prop 39 bond program, we note no exceptions to fiscal controls over measured JJ. So an entirely clean financial report over measured JJ's financial statements. And then moving to performance, performance is a little weird. That's kind of a standalone piece. It's a little bit unique in our world because we're testing to really just one question. Were any funds spent out of Measure JJ in fiscal 23 spent outside of the provision of the Measure JJ ballot language? And the strangest part about that is there's no materiality attached to that. So we could have a finding of $100 on a program with tens of millions of dollars in burn rate. That would be noted in the performance report. It's that sensitive of a test. And our perspective on that, shared with our peers in this space, is that that report really speaks to trust. Trust the community places in the district, because that program is funded by an optional tax. It was optional at one point, it's no longer optional, but a tax that they levied on themselves by authorizing that election to enable the district to achieve some really outstanding facilities projects. And so performance is where we look at what's actually being spent and we compare that to what voters intended those funds to be spent on. And in the current year, the biggest way that we do that test is a very large raw expenditure sample. We looked at 70% approximately of total measured JJ expenditures for fiscal 23. If any item without respect to materiality in that sample came up as an exception to that ballot language, we would note that as a performance finding, formally recommend that the district reimburse the program to the tune of that amount. We note no exceptions to performance for Measure JJ. And so an entirely clean audit over all 3 Measure JJ reports. And with that, I want to open for any questions the board may have on either the district or Measure JJ for fiscal 23.
Trustee
I
Tarpley?
want to thank our staff for doing an excellent job.
No, I feel like
Trustee Henderson?
we're just gonna
Anybody?
trust that.
Yeah, Dennis, you said it, I'll say it also. To everybody out there who's keeping track of these dollars and cents and making sure on the front end, I mean, it's great that you deliver the news, but you're not the person who didn't mess it up 6 months ago. Somebody's keeping track of it, somebody's making sure that everything's happening the way that it's supposed to happen and that the money's going where it's supposed to go and not going where it's not supposed to go. And to all those people out there on this campus, thank you for that. You're clearly doing an exceptional job. So while you deliver the news, I want to take the time to recognize all the people who make it possible for him to deliver that good news. So thank you to everybody out there who's not here.
It would be remiss tonight to not give kudos to John Nolan and his leadership of this area. Seriously, I wouldn't have any way of knowing this until you said, bring this up, whether he did his job or not. But I already knew what the results were. But having come from a district where we never had a year without exceptions, never, in almost 20 years. So I know it was a large district and all that, but anyway, this is awesome and best news that I can get, since one of my jobs is to make sure we comply with all regulations and rules and laws. So thank you.
So John, when you're up for your next raise, you can just go back and take a look at 732 tonight with Dr. Walden, and that should seal the deal.
We were all nervous with the Ferrari parked over there with the custom plate JJ that you pulled in. That was a little bothersome, but.
Yeah. Good job, thanks.
Thank you.
You got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now with all those flattering things, we got John. Okay, John, you want to come up and, oh, yeah, student trustee?
Yes.
Change order?
No, we're voting on,
Accepting
14-1.
that. You were.
You're on 14-1.
You're doing great. I believe in you.
John, would it be easier to do both 14.2 and 14.3 concurrently, or do you need, I mean, with the board, I mean, they're the change orders, the same one? Do I have a?
Separate votes.
Yeah,
because
they're separate votes.
We need separate votes.
Okay, then we'll just, okay, then go ahead, John. So we have a change order increase under 14.2 with Bernard Brothers. I need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
We have motion.
Second.
Wait,
Second.
you did second?
I did second, but that's okay.
It all
if you
came
want
down
to.
there.
Okay, so trustee Henderson, the motion, trustee Pinkerton, the second. Discussion, John, you
It
want to?
doesn't matter to me.
So this change order is for $86,676. This is to fund a steeplechase facility on the track. During original design, it was left out of the project. And if we want to have a stadium that's compliant for playoff competition and meets that are at the highest level, we have to have a steeplechase equipment, which it's basically a pit. I don't, if you're familiar with steeplechase, it's a running event, almost like cross country. You got to jump some hurdles, and then you got to run. You got to jump into this water pit and keep running. So that's my knowledge of steeplechase. But we have to have, we need to have these facilities available to host any kind of playoff events or championship events. So Dr. Walden and I basically are making a recommendation that we include these facilities in our facilities, so we can in the future host any competitions that we might have an interest in.
I intend to get this money back because I intend to approach the Olympic 2028 committee to offer our facilities for them to come and do some of their stuff here at our new facilities, because it'll be totally Olympic qualified.
That's fancy.
Really? Cool.
Soccer included.
I would say this as a side note, one of the candidates last year from Spring Valley Lake was a part of one of the Olympics, in the last one was in LA, Ricky Zimmerman. So Doc, if you want to, he's still connected somehow to that whole group, so I'd be glad to introduce you. So with that, do we have a vote, student trustee?
Yes.
Okay, 14.3, change order change order 5 increased with Bernard Brothers. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion Tarpon.
Second.
Second with trustee Henderson. John, would you please?
So this change order encompasses 4 actual changes in it. It's $458,024.
You said 458?
458,024. So this includes a change order underneath the home bleachers. There's fencing for storage and gates to access underneath were not included in the drawings. So we're adding gates so we can get under there and clean under the bleachers and potentially use some of the space for other issues. So that is $71,677 for the gate. So we can basically, we want to be able to pull our gators in there with a spray rig. And, you know, if some of you football fans are pouring your cola all over the ground, we can power wash it and basically make it a little bit easier for our maintenance crew. So that portion of the change order. So we had some costs for some storm drain revisions, and if you're not aware, the upper pond is basically a stormwater retention basin. And so it drains, it's got drains that come down the hill. There's another stormwater, an irrigation catch basin in the lower portion of campus that we use to irrigate the fields. So there's a storm drain that comes down, and it's located behind the home bleachers. And in design, we basically left that infrastructure in place. And then when we were working on the project, we were draining some water from the upper field, and their catch basin started overflowing. So, and it flooded, didn't flood any of the actual work that was being done, but it brought some water up. So we decided to go ahead and put a direct piping instead of having the drain behind the bleachers. So we attached some piping into the storm drain system. Now it will drain directly into the storm drain system on the other side of the stadium. And that portion cost roughly $43,606. So the next item was added 2 inches of base underneath the track surface. There was some elevation issues that required more base for the track. So that was a $70,000 change order, $70,361. And then the large amount of $272,360 is really added scope to the project. That is baseball field fencing. So if you've seen with a few hints from the board members, Dr. Walden and I have kind of added some scope. So previously you had approved a new irrigation system, brand new turf for the baseball field. So we were just going to replace the fabric of the fence and get rid of all the vegetation that was growing on the fence. But the really nice baseball facilities have windscreens on them. So our athletic program asked us we want to put windscreens on. Well, windscreens require heavier fence posts. So that's why this change order has come out, because we have to replace all the fence posts now, because if we put baseball grade windscreens with a small post, it would just blow over the fence. So we're replacing all the fence posts, and then we're going to put some mesh in behind the home plate. So it's really going to be a very nice facility. So it won't be the eyesore next to the new stadium. So I think once we get, these projects done, and we're working on that right now. This is a spring project. We've displaced the baseball team. Artie and Art and everybody are trying to figure out where the baseball program is gonna play their games this spring, because we're gonna basically totally redo that field. And for the next 20 years, they'll have just a class place to play baseball. So that's pretty much what these change orders are.
Any questions? John, as I remember, did they run sewer over to the baseball diamond and water?
We did, we ran water over there. Our plan is to put in a restroom facility. So yeah, it's part of one of the change orders that we did earlier is when we had the ground open, we ran the water. There is sewer over there. So we got water and power in an area where we can put in a permanent restroom facility.
And then what about, then the last thing would be what, bleachers?
Yeah.
What do you think that's gonna cost?
Well, we'll probably look at already pre-DSA approved, and if you go to a certain height, you can just get, they're pre-approved and we can get them. It's gonna cost, it might cost $150,000.
Okay.
But we're gonna do it right. We've made that pledge basically on this entire project.
I know Art said that he wanted to have a better team than the Dato teams of USC, right? Huh? Is that what you said? Yeah. Yeah. My cousin pitched for Dato.
So it's getting there. We're getting to the finishes now, and that's what Dr. Walden talked about we'll have some finishes going up in the next month or so. So we'll have some photos to share next month.
We still in time for April?
We think we are.
Right. Good.
Morley's nodding.
Okay. Morley and I and
Morley, we're
Kevin,
banking on you.
we've kind of broken out to where we can have therapy once a week on that project. So it's
Drive by it every Sunday after church?
Yeah.
I drive by 7 days a week.
I know you do. I know you do. So, yeah.
That's
Well,
the
thanks. We
stopping that kills
you know
you.
what? The Valley's gonna love this thing. when
It's really
done.
gonna be a nice facility, and Dr. Walden made the comment today. He's been down there dealing with some board room issues, and it is gonna be a beautiful.
It's gonna be interesting for the board. We're gonna have this big room, so we're gonna have to really fill it up. But the only time you fill it up is when you're doing something wrong. And so we're gonna have a lot of seats. So, yeah.
Well, maybe we could all each invite 10 people.
Well, the typical board meeting the petitions that come out of the ceiling will be down.
Yeah.
That's how we'll keep it most of the time, because we'll use it for classes. So you'll still have a much larger board room than this, and the dais is at least twice this size. And, that's behind a wall that folds out. So, at board reading time, that will all be set up for board, that center salon B. So, if you were to have some huge event, yeah, we could open the whole thing up for 1,000 people or whatever,
Are we doing
for a
that
board
when we
meeting,
do
if
that?
you're gonna have some reason to have 1,000 people there. Hopefully, that's a positive reason.
I thought that
For the
Dr. Wagner,
foundation.
when we were going through the design, I thought Dr. Wagner said if we sat people in that whole area, you could see 2,000. Was that right?
Well, he was, there was
wasn't
no
even
design
here,
on
yeah.
that before I got
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
But we think, we'll see what the fire people let us put in there. But probably 1,200 anyway.
Good.
I don't know.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of.
Cool. Student trustee?
Yes.
Thanks, John, for your. Well, not so bad. Okay, section 15.1 non-classified short-term employees. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I'm waiting for one vote.
Somebody needs
Are
to
you waiting for
vote.
one vote?
I won't call names out.
Call a name out. Call us out.
You're not talking about trustee Wood, are you?
Oh, there it is.
Look at his
Wow.
face.
It's always good when you bust me, because we've all been busted from time to time.
Yeah.
True.
We're ready.
Okay, so, trustee Wood, are
Motion.
you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
Motion.
15.1 non-classified short-term employees. Do I have a motion?
Motion, second.
Okay, we have a motion from trustee Henderson and a second from trustee Tarpley. Dr. Walden, would you like to just give a little explanation?
No, this is standard every month, all the short-term employees.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Student trustee?
Yes.
We done?
It'll pop up.
15.2, new confidential management job classification, salary placement for human resources coordinator.
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Tarpley, second by trustee
Pinkerton.
Pinkerton. Dr. Walden?
A new position in HR.
Right.
They need the help.
She deserves it. I wouldn't want your job.
Joe.
I'm waiting for mine.
Student,
There you go.
There, it just appeared.
student trustee vote?
Yes.
Student
Thank
trustee-
you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm getting sloppy.
That's one.
15.3, 15.3, non-academic, non-classified personnel and professional expert salary schedule updates.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Tarpley, a second by trustee Pinkerton.
So as you know, all the minimum wages went up,
Yep.
and so this brings us into compliance.
1550.
Student trustee?
Yes.
Sixteen point one, curriculum changes. Do I have a
Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Henderson. Dr. Walden? Anything?
No.
Nope. Student trustee?
Yes.
Sixteen point two, revised 2023 to 2024 academic calendar. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Henderson. Student trustee?
Yes.
Sixteen point three, contract ed, Victor Valley Elementary School District. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Sorry.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Wood. Any discussion? Student trustee?
Yes.
We have nothing under student services action agenda, section 18. We have three items up for first read. We have board policy 6250, budget management. We have board policy 6800, occupational safety. And we have board policy 7340, leaves. What we've typically done in the past as a board is somebody's made a motion and a second to,
We don't.
No, these are
oh,
just.
these are first
read.
read. I'm
Yep.
sorry. I'm
It's
sorry.
always confusing.
German, is the intention of Victor Valley Community College District to comply with Americans with Disabilities Act in all respects. Any person with a disability may request that the agenda be made available in the appropriate alternative format. A request for a disability-related modification or accommodation may be made by a person with a disability who requires a modification or accommodation in order to participate in a public meeting, or accommodation in order to participate in a public meeting to Monica Martinez, Victor Valley College, 18422 Bear Valley Road, Victorville, 92395-5849, 760-245-4271, extension 2455, from 8:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m., Monday through Friday, at least 48 hours prior to the meeting to make reasonable arrangements. Under Government Code 5495-4.2. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Motion,
It was
Anderson.
unanimous.
Pick one.
always
Motion,
unanimous.
Anderson,
I just
Wood.
got an announcement from Robert that the ASB retreat this year will be from June 11th to 14th in Big Bear.
June?
June.
July.
Oh, geez.
July, typo. He sent me June.
July what?
July 11th through 14th. He texted me June though, so that.
Oh.